Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And the first thing I need to do today is to apologise. And I need to apologise to Denise Anteline, for forgetting your birthday yesterday. I'm very sorry. I did mean to say happy birthday yesterday, but I forgot. You know, I am useless at admin. What can I say? But anyway, I hear that you and your husband Josh have been watching us since the early days of the pandemic. Therefore, you've heard me say bobbins a lot. And I'll say bobbins once more for forgetting your birthday. But Denise, I hope you had a super day yesterday. Now, what have we got for you today, puzzle-wise? Well, we have got a puzzle by the terrifying Glipperal called X. Now, we've had a few recommendations to look at this. The first recommendation we had was from Federico, who said that this is an amazing puzzle and should definitely be featured on the channel. And he thought it was sort of a 3-star out of 5 type difficulty puzzle. Since when it has achieved a rating on Logic Masters Germany of 5 stars out of 5 and a 100% approval rating. So it obviously is a magnificent puzzle, but it seems like it might be quite difficult. I did ask Mark to have a look at it and test it. Mark reported back that it is astonishingly difficult, and again, I'm not sure he's actually solved it. He didn't reveal that to me, but it's apparently an absolute beast. So wish me luck. Before we get started and I read you the rules, it's the 29th of June. That means in just 2 days' time we are releasing for patrons of the channel over on Patreon Jovial's Sudoku Extravaganza. I think I meant to call it a relay actually. 20 puzzles containing many of the variants you'll have seen on the channel over the last few weeks and months, and they're all beautiful puzzles. Of course, they're beautiful puzzles. Jovial created them, but they're also approachable, so they ought to be a lot of fun for everybody. And I think we've got anyway a really super prize created indeed by one of our viewers. So I'll reveal more about that in the next day or two. And now I hear Maverick has just taken off in the distance, no doubt making an appearance any moment now just outside my window. Hopefully he's not got bullets today, and I'll read you the rules of X. So the rules are, it's not a Sudoku X actually, I've just noticed that. I don't know why it's called X. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Circled numbers must appear in at least one of the 4 cells touching that circle. So these are quadruple clues, and that means in that quadruple of cells there, you've got to find the digits 3 and 8 at least once. I suppose you could, in theory, do that. But what you must absolutely do is make sure you do at least something like that. There's got to be a 3 and an 8 in those 4 cells. Small circles without a number in them link cells containing consecutive digits. So these are just Kropki dots. So these are white Kropki dots, and therefore in those dominoes you need to make sure the digits are consecutive. Not many clues here in this puzzle, which is a bit daunting, but anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So normally the way to start quadruples is to look for common digits between the quadruple cells. So I can see, for example, here that 4 is common to both of these 2x2 areas, and therefore 4 can't appear in any of those 12 cells. Which, you see, what we really need to do is to find that, but not when it's crossing boxes. In fact, they're all going to cross boxes, aren't they? Okay, that's very strange indeed, because imagine this 479 was in that 2x2 and this 14 was in that 2x2, then we would know there was a 4 in here by Sudoku, but here we can't actually deduce anything, which is a bit disturbing. Yeah, all of the quadruple cells are in fact, I'm not going to say useless, because they're obviously not useless in some strange way that I can't appreciate yet, but I don't actually understand. I've got 3s and 8s in those 2. I really don't like the fact that they're crossing this box boundary though, because I don't see how I can deduce anything. It can't be the Kropki dots. Sorry, I'm not seeing this at all. I really am not seeing how to do normal quadruple. Right, we must have to do geometry then. Is this geometry? It must be geometry madness. So, how do we do geometry madness? Yeah, okay. Okay, I think I can see what I need to do here, or at least I might be able to see what I need to do. It looks to me like row 3, row 4, row 6, row 7 is going to include a lot of real estate in terms of quadruple clues. And if I take the equivalent columns, let's in fact do this. So if I take those squares and then compare them with those squares, am I going to get something quite interesting? That's the question. Let's highlight those in green. Yeah, okay, that's definitely at least worth thinking about. So, let's talk about what I'm doing here. What on earth are all these colours doing? Well, obviously, just focus on the purples. How could we define those purple cells? Well, we know if we correctly finish the puzzle, these purple cells I've highlighted will be exactly 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. We don't know how the numbers will be disposed in these rows, but we know that they must be 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now look at the greens, and I think we could all agree that those greens are also going to be 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9, because it's 4 complete columns of the Sudoku. So at the moment we could say that these 2 sets of digits are identical because they're both equal to 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now if I remove any cell that has 2 colours, obviously I'm removing that cell from both sets, so the sets should still contain equivalent digits. So that means that we can just get rid of all of these like that, and we know that these digits, the purple digits, are still equal to the green digits. Now I'm not sure what this does, but it does look a lot, well, it looks too perfect, doesn't it? Apart from these horrible dominoes in the middle, we've actually managed to capture all of the big quadruple clues by doing this. Right, what is this doing? So, it's not quite what I hoped, in fact, because it's interesting in that, for example, if you look at the purple cells, I've got a 4 in there, I've got a 4 in here, and I've got a 4 in here. That's 3 4s. Now, look at the greens. So the fact that there are 3 4s in those squares for sure means I have to put at least 3 4s in the greens, because we know that the greens and the purples are the same set of digits. Now, the quadruple clues for greens don't include any 4s at the moment. So I've got to somehow shunt 3 4s, maybe 4 4s. I mean, it's perfectly possible there could be a 4 here, or a 4 here, or a 4 here. So it could be 4 4s I have to put in the greens, but it's at least 3 4s. Yeah, and the 3s in the greens, there are 3 3s in the greens that have to go in the purples on the other side. But, yeah, I was hoping that the greens and the purples would be completely different, but they're not. For example, there is a 5 in the purples and there's a 5 in the greens. There's a 1 in the purples and there's a 1 in the greens. So these sets are not sort of mutually exclusive. How many purple digits have we got given? We've got given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. And how many purple squares are there altogether? There are 20. So there are 9 digits that we have to find. There are 9 digits in purple that have not been clued at all. And we know some of those digits, but not all of them, because we know that those 9 digits must include 3 3s. And they must include 2 2s, actually. Look at that. There are 2s here, and there are no 2s in purple. So that's 5 digits. 8s. 8s are also... yeah, here we go. This might work, actually. We've got 2 8s in green and no 8s clued in purple. So that's another 2 digits. So now I've got 3... I know that purple must contain, in addition to what's clued in purple, 3 3s. I'm counting on my fingers now. 3 3s, 2 8s, 2 2s. I need 2 more digits. Now, can I get that? Oh, I see, I can. I can get it from the 1s. Wow. Wow. Yes, okay. So, look at the 1s now. Now, although we have a 1 clued in purple, we actually have 3 1s clued in green. So we know that purple must contain at least 3 1s, but only one of them is clued. So effectively, that's giving us 2 more digits that we never knew we had in purple. And that's 9. So I now actually know what's in purple. And the corollary of that must be that I know what's in green as well. How weird is that? So I'm very tempted. I've not done this before, or very rarely done this before, but I'm very tempted to get out a sort of notepad and try and note this down, because this is going to be very hard to hold in my head. We now know that purple and green contain exactly the following digits. Now, concentrate, Simon. 3 1s, 2 2s, 3 1s, 2 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 1 5. So these fives are both cluing the only 5 that exists in green and purple. That's probably important somehow, but in a way I can't tell what. 6s then. How many 6s have we got? We've got 2. So let's just do this again. 3 1s, 2 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 1 5, 2 6s, 2 7s, 2 8s, and 2 9s. Now hopefully those digits I just listed added up to 20 digits. I'm not sure though. I'm still not sure what that means. I've still not actually entered a pencil mark. I could enter pencil marks. If I felt like it, I could do that and that. So, no. Puzzle. I know more about you than you think I know. So does it... It must help me somehow. Sorry, frog in my throat. It must help me somehow to know the exact composition of the purple cells and the green cells. But how does it help me? So I know... I'm not sure. I mean, is it helpful, for example? I know that there are 3 4s in all the purples, and they've effectively been clued into those squares. So I know those squares are not 4s. There's no 4 in those squares. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes, okay, I think I can see something, because by the same token, look at these squares I've got highlighted. There's no 5 in any of those squares, because I know there's 1 5 in purple, and I know it lives in here. And I know there are 2 6s in purple, and they live in these... so let's get rid of that one. Maybe it's these squares that we can... So these 2 squares have no 4s in them. No 5, no 6, no 7, and no 9. They're right. this is really extraordinary, actually. But I think these squares have to be the digits that are not. So there are 9 digits in a Sudoku. There is a knowledge bomb from Cracking the Cryptic. There are 9 digits. But I know that purple... Yeah, it's so strange. But we know purple altogether contains 3 4s. And we know those 4s are not in these squares. So these squares can't be 4. They can't be 5. They can't be 6. That's 3 digits so far I've ruled out. They can't be 7. There's only 2 7s in purple, and we know where they are. And they can't be 9. Exactly the same 2x2s take care of the 9s. So these squares there are 4 digits remaining, and these are those 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, and 8, I think. And that'll probably work there as well. Let me just think about this first, though. We've got Kropki dots now playing a part, haven't we? Because... Yes, well, this square here, if this is a 1 or a 2, this needs to be a 1, 2 or a 3, and it can't be that, so that's not a 1 or a 2, and that logic must be symmetrical. So there's a 3-8 pair in column 5, we're getting somewhere now, 1, 2 pair in the middle. This square's got to, well, these 2 squares have the same options, which are 4, 7 or 9. Now, can we get rid of one of those using either of these? No. No, there's a complete disconnect between those 4, 7, 9 options and what's going in the greens. So that doesn't work. Let's have a look at these greens. Is it the same logic? So now what we want to do with regard to these dominoes is to think about the digits that have been clued in green that can't go anywhere else in green. So particularly we know that there are 3 1s in green. So you can't put 1 in those squares. Because the 3 1s are obviously in these 2x2s where they're clued. You can't put 2 in. You can't put 3 in. You can't put 5 in. I need 1 more. And you can't put 8 in. That's it. Right, so these squares are also a quadruple. And basically they're a quadruple on the digits that are very heavily clued in purple, of course, which is 4, 6, 7 and 9. Now that gives us different Kropki dots. Oh, well that's a hard-earned digit. We've got a digit. That's a 5, a naked single, because it sees all the other digits in this strange extra region we've identified in the Sudoku. It's literally an extra region, that. This is all of the digits 1 to 9, this cross in the grid. This should be called plus, not X. Why is it called X? Why is it called X? I don't know. There could well be something I am not appreciating here. X is the Roman numeral for 10. Don't know. Anyway, let's look at these Kropki dots. We have got to put on this. Well, you can't... If this is a 6, this would have to be a 5 or a 7, and it can't be those things. So that's not 6. That's not 6 by the same logic. So, what does that mean? Yeah, okay. If you look at the options here, it's quite interesting. So whether this is 7 or 9, it'll have to be next to an 8. Because 6 isn't available, and 7 isn't available. So one of these 2 squares is an 8. And one of them must be a 3, because it can't be a 5. Whichever one of these is 4, and one of them must be 4, is going to have to be next to the 3. So one of these must be 4, therefore they are not 4. One of these is 7 or 9, but we don't know which. So 6 is definitely in those 2 squares in the central box. So I don't think I get a pair here. I get a pair vertically, but I don't think I get a pair horizontally. But I could be missing something there. Oh, look. Oh, I get I get a pair horizontally, just not in those positions. Those two squares are a 1-2 pair. That is weird. Now, can we do anything with these 2x2s? Not quite. I was getting excited about the 1 in this one, but I don't think that does enough, because I don't know whether there's a 1 in there or not. So what do we do now? Sorry about this. What do we do now? That is the question. You would think that somehow one of these, or two of these 2x2s, would somehow eliminate something. But unless I'm missing something, I don't think that they do. This is so strange. So, I'm not even sure what to look at here. Right, come on, step back, think about this. What is it that we're meant to see next? We have got the exact composition of purple, but we have got it, but we don't know how the digits that are not these 1, 2, 3s and 8s, we don't know how they are distributed around these 2x2s. So I'm also having mad thoughts here about Fistemafel. That is not... I'm just noticing that the whole grid seems to be divided up into 2x2s, some of which are exactly corresponding with the Fistemafel ring, which of course is this ring here. I have a horrible feeling there's something very clever going on with the Fistemafel ring. Not least because hang on, is that right? Is there something going on with the Fistemafel ring? So the Fistemafel ring is telling us that those squares there, those oh, that's not a very good colour, sorry. Those red squares, is that better? Not much, but those red squares are exactly the same digits as those blue squares. It's going to become mental if we have to use this. But I'm just looking at this middle region. This is getting too colourful, but like there's something going on with the fact that this is an extra region and that box is an extra region. So in effect, I could plonk these 4 digits into those 4 squares somehow. And the Fistemafel ring would be what I would have left. Which would then have to mirror... I'm not quite understanding it, but I think there is something going on. I just don't quite get it at the moment. Okay. What else can we do? What digits do we know about 5? Can we just look at 5? Is 5 the key that's going to tell us what's going on? So 5, we know that 5 appears once in green and it appears here. So we know there's no 5s in those squares or those squares. All these squares. Actually, let's highlight those squares as well. What do they have to be? They've got to be 4, 6, 7 or 9. i.e. not 5. So 5. This is very odd. Again, this is almost Fistamafel-esque, because we know there's 1 5 altogether in green, and I know that row 1 and row 2 together have 2 5s in them. But those 5s therefore can't go in any of those squares, so they must go, one of them must be in that box, and one of them must be in that box, which is very like the Fistamafel ring. Now that means that there must be a 5 in one of these 3 squares, I think, by Sudoku. Now this square has to be a 3 or an 8 because it can't be a 5, so there is a 5 in one of those 2 squares. So maybe this is what we have to do. We have to pick digits that where we do know where they go in the greens and the purples, and sort of then look at other places that are affected by the greens and the purples, and where we know those digits can't go, to force those digits into places where we never knew they were in the first place. That is a summary of madness. Yeah, okay. Okay, but I can carry on with 5s here, can't I? Because let's flip the green logic on 5s to be the purple logic on 5s. Now the purple logic on 5 is telling us there is one 5 in all of purple, but we know that 5 lives in this 2 by 2, so there is no 5 in those squares, there's no 5 here. So in columns 8 and 9 there must be 2 5s, one of which must be in box 3, one of them must be in box 9. That means that there is a 5 in one of these 2 squares by Sudoku, because you can't put 5s in any of those 6 cells. So we get a deduction, and we get a deduction. Ah, yes, now look at the actual green 5, which is in this 2 by 2 and doesn't seem to be here anymore because of the 5 we managed to put in the corner here. So there's a 5 here, and that means there's no 5 there, which means this is a 5. And that's a hard-earned second digit, my goodness me. 5 in purple can't be there, so it must be here. That 5 sees this one, and we get another digit. That 5 and this 5 mean we have to put a 5 in column 3, and it's not in any of those 6 cells. Oh, it's symmetrical. Look, and the same trick is going on in box 8 and box 9. You can't put 5 in any of those squares because the 5s are locked into these 2 and these 4. So this square is a 5 by the power of magic, or really it's Sudoku. Now that 5, there's a 2 quadruple here, so we've got to put a 2 in this sort of empty rectangle pattern there. 5s, I've placed 4 5s. 1, oh I see, yeah, okay, and I'm not sure I can do much better than that. I've got 5 fairly healthy pencil marks in various boxes that don't look to me like they're going to overlap or resolve anything. So 2 is in one of those squares. Can we use this fact? 2 is in one of these 3 squares. So problem is, well, if it's there, we get 2s here. Again, I hate it when I get the pencil mark crossing the boundary of a box. It just plays with my head. Maybe the thing I've got to do... I'm just wondering about... I'm coming back to the central box again. I did very well with 5s. So I'm wondering whether I should be looking at 1s, 2s, and possibly 6s. So, for example, this might be absolute bobbins. 1s in relation to... 1s in relation to green look to me like they're restricted, because I've got 1s here and 1s here, so I can't put 1s in any of those squares. I can't put 1s in these 2 squares. I can't put 1s in those squares. I can't put 1s in here either, because there cannot be a 4th 1 in green, because then there would have to effectively be too many digits in purple, because I know that purple only has 3 1s, green only has 3 1s, because we worked out the exact composition of the 20 digits. So there are no 1s in there. Oh no, I was about to say that means this is a 1, but it doesn't mean this is a 1, because there's a 1 in here. No, it doesn't. Oh, sorry. No, it means that if you look at column 3, there is a 1 in one of those 3 squares, just by Sudoku, because you can't put a 1. Oh no, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. No, that's wrong. Sorry. I was about to say there has to be a 1 in those 3 squares, but no, this one is still a fly in the ointment. Don't understand the puzzle. Still don't understand the puzzle. I don't know whether the 1 here goes there or there. Let's try 2s again. 2s. So 2 needs to find... Oh! Yeah, okay. Where does 2 go in column 4? That's not a silly question. I don't think it can go anywhere apart from here. Is that right? I think it is right, because I know that, yeah, this is the same, effectively it's the same method I did before with the 5s. I just didn't really appreciate it. 2s, I've used them up in green in these 2x2s. So by switching attention over to these greens and asking whether 2s go in these columns, I actually get real progress, because I can't put 2s in the greens. I can't put 2 here or here, there's already sort of pencil marked or digits, and there's a 1-2 pair here ruling out 2 from those squares. So 2 has got to go in that square, I think, in column 4. So now I'm wondering about this 2 here, which now has to be in those 2s. No, got it, right. Now, where does the 2 go in this quadruple? It's not here, because of Sudoku, and it's not here because this is green, and we know that the 2 2s in green are in those squares. That's 2. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, this is gorgeous. Right, where does 2 go in that quadruple? It must go here, because it can't go there or here by Sudoku. 2 up here now must be in this domino. So I think we've got the sort of bones of a method as to how you approach this puzzle. But it's still quite difficult to conceptualize how to think about it. So can I get more with 2s done? 2 in this box. How long have I had? 34 minutes. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, yes, okay, here is a thought. I'm not sure if this is right, but now I want to revisit 1s in this column again, because I know there are no 1s in those 2 squares because of my 1-2 pair. And I know, I think, well I do, that there's no 1 in this 3-8 quadruple, because the 3 1s in green are in those squares. So the 1 in this column is down there in that domino, which means it's not, which gives me a 1. Oh, this is gorgeous, good grief. Right, it's not here by Sudoku, therefore. We know there's a 1 in this quadruple, it must be here, which bounces back in there and gives me a 1. There's now a 1 in here, which means these squares are 6, 7 or 9, because this is a quadruple now of 1, 6, 7 and 9, and these can't include a 1. What? Yes. Oh, yeah, here we go. 1 here sees this side of this 1, 2, 3 quadruple, so the 1 must shift over into this domino where it joins its friend the 2. That's a 1, 2 pair. There's now got to be a 3 here. This 3, I'm not sure. Is that 3 doing something clever? I don't know. The 1 here is doing something with this quadruple though, because now this can't be a 1, so there must be a there must be a 1 here, so that's become a 2. This is beautiful as well. Look, this 1 domino is seeing that and that, forcing both of those to be 2s, placing a 1 here, placing a 1 here, placing a 1 here. That means this square's got to be 6, 7 or 9. I've got to be careful here. There's a lot suddenly that's coming to fruition. Now, we've got a 1 here. We've got a 2 here. That goes with this 2. Does that mean anything? That means there's a 2 in one of those squares. Don't know if I can do more than that. None of these 1s and 2s sort of affect the Kropke dots though, do they? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, so we've got to do more thinking, I think. How are we going to do that? We've now got this lovely 1, 2 pair here. We've got a 5 here. We've got this 6, 7, 9 here that we never had before. I don't know. Oh, I've got 1, 3 and 8 here. That's a little interesting. I've got my 3, 8 up here. I've got 3 8s here and here as well. Okay, well, as I can see something I can't do, and that's put 3 and 8 in those 2 squares. Because if I do that, I've got a big problem here, because I'll have to put the 3 and the 8 in this domino, and now I've got too many squares in box 2 that have to be 3 or 8. So that doesn't work, and that means, of course, that this square must be 3 or 8. Now I've got a 3, 8 pair in box 8. So the digits 1, 2, 3, 5 we know has got to be over here. 6 can be there. I don't believe it. It's no good. I was going to see if I could try and lock a digit into these 3 digits, but I don't think I can. Let's come back to my thinking about my 3 8s. One of these is a 3 or an 8. I don't know which one, and I don't know what digit it is, but one of them is a 3 or an 8. That means whichever digit this is down here, in this 3 8 combination has to appear in there, which means that there is a virtual 3 8 pair in this box. And look, that means once we know one of these is a 3 8, and we do, and it joins its friend here, we know that none of those squares is a 3 or an 8. We know none of these 3 squares is a 3 or an 8 because of the 3 8 pair in box 8. So there's a 3 8 pair in box 6. Which does nothing. locks 4 into one of those squares. That's what it does. Whoops. Sorry. Let's go for a let's go for a corner pencil mark. I think 4 is the only digit we've not pencil marked in this box. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is 4. As in one of those squares. Oh, 4 isn't here. 4 isn't here because of purple, which I feel I've neglected a bit. But purple has 4s in these squares, so that's not 4. So this is a 4. Now, hang on a moment. 4 is now not here, but must appear in this quadruple. That's a 4. 4... does that mean anything? It feels like it almost means something. 4, if I could rule 4 out of there, or it in there. Oh, hang on a minute. Doesn't one of those have to be a 4? Because of the one of those, these has to be a 3. It does. Ah, look, I can get rid of a 4 from those squares. Yeah, okay. That... that does what? Oh, silly man, you silly man. There's just an easy win here, isn't there? Where does 4 go in this box? These 4s rule 4 out of those 3 squares. This 4 rules it out of those squares, and this is a 1-2 pair. That's a 4. Good grief. Which means that's not an 8, that's a 3. Which means that's an 8. Which that's not a 4 now. Okay, that felt like an important deduction, but it's not really done very much, unless I'm missing a trick, which is probable. Well, the 8's giving us a 3 here. Sorry, that might be it. Is that doing something? Yeah, okay, because I've got a virtual... I had a virtual 3-8 pair in this box, so there must be an 8 now in this domino. And the reason for that is what we worked out before. It's just there must be an 8 in this domino. Well, we didn't know it was an 8, but we now do. We knew it was a 3 or an 8 before. We now know it's an 8. Now, we now know there's a 3 in this domino, because there's a 3 here, and there needs to be a 3 in this domino. This is absolute madness, isn't it? Now 3 may be down here, I can see is locked into one of those 2 squares, which means 3 in box 9 is in the same cells, I think, as 4 is. So that has become a 3-4 pair. And 4 now in box 8 has to be in the same positions as 5. That's a 4-5 pair. This must be 6, 7 or 9. That must be 6, 7 or 9 to complete this row. So we've got a 4-5 pair here, a 3-8 pair here, a 1-2 pair there. So we just need 6, 7s and 9s into that square. Oh, this is getting tremendously exciting now. I don't feel like I'm on the verge of cracking this, but I do feel like I'm making enough progress that I might be able to crack it. Oh no. Famous last words. I was about to use this 5 to place a 5 in that domino, but that is very easy to do given I did it some time ago. Now what do we do? What on earth do we do now? I haven't got a clue. I have a horrible feeling that I need to look at purple more seriously, because I have not really... I didn't do the same sort of tricks that we did with the 1s and 2s. I've got a 3-8 pair there. That square's a 6, 7 or 9 in the central box, look. 6, 7 or 9 here. Yeah, okay, that makes sense with the 8. Oh dear. And the problem is, when we do this, we're going to have to be very... So what I need to do is to pick a digit from purple and then think about where it can't go in the other purple squares. Right, okay, well I think the digit we're going to need to look at is 6. Now let me explain why. If we look at 7s here and here, I know there's no 7 here and there's no 7 there, but I don't know how to do anything with that. These boxes don't align. But if we look at 6s on the other hand, knowing that there's a 6 in those two means there's not a 6 in these two. And that means in column 8 and column 9, where I must have 2 6s, the 6s live in the corner Fistemafel. Yeah, I'm sure this is somehow Fistemafel related, this puzzle. I mean, aren't all puzzles Fistemafel related in you know, if you really boil it down, but there seems to be too much going on in these corner cells. Now, if I've got 6s here and 6s here, where do I put the 6 in this column? That's the question. It definitely can't go there, because it must be in one of those 3 squares, it must be here. There is a 6 for us. Which means that's not a 6. So there's a 6 in one of those 3 cells. Gosh, that's a hard one, 6, isn't it? Now there's a 6 now in one of these squares as well, look. Which means this is not a 6. Oh, it doesn't work. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. What on earth else do we do then? We must... There must be a digit I can put down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Yeah, where does 8 go in this box? It's got to go in the corner. Do I know anything about 8s in purple? I don't think so. Do I know... Have we got a way of somehow... I'm wondering if there's a way I can work out these Kropki dots, because I've managed to work out those Kropki dots, and I haven't worked out these ones. So that means I need to know more. If I knew there was an 8, for example, up here, that would do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're getting cross with me. I hope you can give me a bit of a pass here. This is not an easy puzzle. I just don't think it is. 8 must be in one of those squares in this column. So, yeah, so if that was an 8 and this was an 8, I'd need to put an 8 in this domino. Oh, in fact, it would have to go exactly there. That would be lovely. Yeah, that would give me this. So, is there a way of ruling an 8 out of this square somehow? That's my question. Oh no. Oh, I was about to do something with 4s and then realised this 4 thing crosses the box boundary again, so I can't do it. No, I can't. Okay. So, what on earth do we do next? I have not got a clue. I'm not even sure where to look, if I'm honest. If I could narrow this square down, I might be able to get a pair here. 8s are not in those. Oh, Actually, hang on. I've got to put 8 into this spot. I've not even looked at this quadruple, I don't think. Well, I think I looked at it horizontally, but not vertically. 8 must be in one of those. Ah, that's it. There we go. It's simple. It's simples. There's no 8 there, so there must be an 8 here. That 8 sees that square. 3, 4 on the crocky dot. That's not 4 anymore, and this must be 8. That means there's no 8 down there, which means that 8 must live here, which is not a surprise to anybody. This 3 is seeing my 3 pencil marks at the bottom of column, or the bottom of box 7. So, have we learned anything really magical from that, or is it sort of just a few digits and then it all grinds to a halt again? Ah, no, I can do something with 4s now, I think. I've got 4s here and here, and that plonks a 4. Oh, this looks interesting. This really does look interesting. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. I've got a 4 here. Now, that I think is doing some magic, because now 4 in this quadruple is not there. Which means it's here, where I seem to have a 6. Yeah, I do have a 6 pencil mark. So this is now a 4-6 pair. Which means 8 is forced to be there. Which means 8 is forced to be here. Which means 8 is forced to be there. Oh, I think that's where I didn't want it to be. Oh, well, never mind. It's still progress. Now, is that doing anything else that's magical? Yes, it is. I can see something with 4s here and here now. There's a 4 here, there's a 4 here. That means there's got to be a 4 in this column in those 2 squares, joining their friends the 3. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. Did we ever think it was anything else? The answer is I never had that thought before, so I didn't really think about it. That's a 4, that's a 3 now. 3 must be here by the power of Sudoku. How many 3s have we got? Several. But no 3 in the middle box. Bobbins. 4s. How many 4? Oh, it's so strange. You feel like you're making real progress, and then you find that actually you've hardly done anything. I've got to put 7 in this one. I've not even looked at this one either, so 7 must be vertical there. Is that useful? It's so not. It's so not. It's so annoying. Oh, silly boy. There's got to be a 6 in this one, so that's got to be a 6. There we go. Is that useful? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's useful up there. Or maybe it's not. Does it matter that we've shifted a 6 over there? I don't know. Oh, goodness me. Please crack now. I don't know what to do. This square, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to label that square 6, 7 or 9 to feel like I'm making progress in some way. There's got to be an 8 in here. I feel like I did loads with 8, so I really not finished them all. Oh, not even close, in fact. This 3-8 combination is being recalcitrant. Okay. So we've done magnificently well in column 7. But this little quadruple here is being exceptionally irritating. Ah, that's a little bit interesting. Just thought I'd mention this. Look, the 8, the 2 and the 6 all sit in sort of their most extreme towards the edge positions. This one we don't know about, but those, the 6, the 2 and the 8 all sit there. So does that mean this should be a 7? So does that mean I can rule a 7 out from here somehow? No, it doesn't. Maybe, I mean, if this is not a 7, if that's a 7, there's got to be a 7 in there. That would be a very useful 4-7 pair, because it would give me a 9. All sorts of things would flow from that. Golly gosh, what have we not used? What have we not used? The answer is, I don't know. Oh dear. This is really getting tricky. There's definitely a 1 in. How about ones? Can I do more with ones? Yeah, maybe I can actually. I'm just noticing I've got to put a 1 in this domino, which I definitely didn't know. Although, no, it doesn't seem to do anything. That's a shame. What about 2s? Do I know enough about 2s to do anything? I know a little bit about 2s that I haven't pencil marked. There's a 2 in one of those squares. There's a 2 in one of these 3 squares. 2's in one of those squares. Is that helpful? Don't know. This 6, 7, 9 quadruple, can we do something with that? I mean, this puzzle is so minimalistic, isn't it? It really does feel like there is no extraneous information. I'll be fascinated to know if I can get through it, whether Glipperal says that no, this is really pared down to its bare bones. I was just wondering if I could use a 7 there. No, I couldn't do that anyway. Oh, Simon. We've ground to an astonishingly bad halt here. Maybe I've got to pencil mark this row. So 1s, 2s, 7s and 9s. Is there any way we're going to get any traction from that? I don't think so. It doesn't look good, does it? Ones, 2s, that's not 2. But let's do this slowly. This has got to be 1, 2, 7 or 9. Now, is there any reason it can't be any of those? This has got to be 1, 7 or 9. This overall has got to be 4, 7 or 9. Jeepers creepers. I don't know whether I've just missed. Well, I'm sure I've missed many deductions, but this is a bit of a blinding or a grinding halt I've struck upon, and I'm sorry, I really am. I hate it when this happens because I feel so bad that I'm wasting all your time. But I promise I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be slow. I am trying to solve it for you. I almost feel like I've got to go through the digits one by one and click them to see. Is it Sudoku? 5s, you see. I don't know. Have I disturbed the 5s that I've pencil marked? I don't think I have. I don't think I disturbed those earlier pencil marks enough for it to matter. So it's got to be something about one of these quadruples that's going to allow me to make more progress. What is it? 6, 7, 9 here, 6, 7, 9 here, 5 here. There's definitely a 6 in one of these 2 squares. Or maybe I just need to think about the puzzle completely differently. I mean, I'm reluctant to do that, but maybe that's what's required. This 479 is bugging me. I think I can do more with this. So actually, so is this 3-8. There must be a way of resolving that. I felt like I got loads of 3s earlier. Look, I have got loads of 3s. So the 3... Do we know something about where 3 goes? 3 is either here or here. Now if 3 is here, there's nothing actually wrong with that, because you could just have 3s offset. In fact, it's almost likely that's the case. Or 8s. Can I rule... Oh, I know what it is. I've spotted it. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I've wasted all your time. I really am. Okay, but at least I've spotted it. This 8 is ruling an 8 out of those squares. So this is a 5-8 pair, look. And that looks like it might be mighty for 2 reasons. Firstly, related to 2. This square is now a 2. Secondly, does that do more than... I don't know. But that 5-8 is now resolving the 3. And that's giving us an 8 here. Now, does that do anything? Well, yes, it might do. It might do. This 8 is now resolving the 8 and the 5. 5 is now pushed into the same cells as 2. That's lovely. So that's a 2-5 pair. Rule 2 out of this square. So the other cells... Ah, now we can... Oh, no, we can't. That's got to be a 7 or a 9. Don't know which. This has got to be 1, 7 or 9. Not sure if we know which. But I did see something else over here as well, which is that 3, look, is being pushed into this domino. So this is a 1-3 pair. Which means this is a 6, 7, 9 triple to come... Oh, whoopsie. 6, 7, 9 triple to complete this row. I seem to think the 6 has to be in those 2 squares. Why do I think that? That's a good question, actually. Why? Oh, is it just because I think I just deleted this pencil mark by mistake. I can't. Yeah, I was looking at this, thinking, how do I know if this can be 6? How do I know that only those 2 can be 6 in box 4? I don't think I do know that. So these squares have got to be 4, 7, or 9. Which is corresponding exactly to their quadruple. And that might be good enough for us to make a bit more progress, perhaps. Please. So 3s now are very nearly done. Just these 3s to be worked out. 1s are still definitely not done. 2s. I'm not going to use uniqueness, don't worry. There's definitely a 7 in one of those, so that square can't be 7. So this becomes 4 or 9, doesn't make any difference. But if there's a 7 in there, there's not a 7 in there either, so this becomes 1 or 9. That doesn't make any difference either. Although, okay, where does 2 go there? I see, yeah. These 2s align, so where does 2 go in row 3? It has to go there. That places the 7, and the 7 is in this sort of strange, extreme position. That 7, well, let's just check, because this 2 is going to do any more magic. Oh, is that all the 2s? No, it's not. Oh, I see, we've got this pattern left. So, but this 7 maybe then. That 7's ruling out 7 from 2 squares over there. And this 2 is disturbing the equilibrium of this 4, 7, 9. So there must be 4, 7, 9, so there cannot be 1. So that becomes a 9. This is good. This has got to be now 4 and... Oh, don't press E when you're trying to write a 7 in, or a 4. This is a 4, 7 pair. That's a 9. 6 and 7 go in. This is a 9. This is a 7. Oh, please keep going now. This is 6, 9. That means 7 must be there. So that means that's not 7. This 9 seems to see a 7 in that square, which we'll trust. That's fixing a 7 and a 6 in the middle, giving me a 9 here, a 7 here, a 6 here. That's got to be a 9. That's got to be a 6. This square is now a 1, which makes this a 9. This is now a 7. It seems to still be working. This square's a 6. So that's 7, 9, and this becomes a 6. The 6 and the 4 get finished. Yeah, this is one of those puzzles. I think if you looked at it in the perfect way, you could probably be done in about half an hour. But I'm not going to believe anybody who writes in the comments that they solved this in half an hour, I'm afraid, because I think it is an absolutely barbarically difficult puzzle. Even though I've made a bit of a mess of some of it, it's still surely monstrous. Now, what are those squares? One of them is a 9. And that square, I don't know which one it is, 4 and 9. 4 here is useful. 4 and 9 go in. So 4 and 5 go in. So 5 must be here. And this square must be something which is a 9. That's good, because I haven't got a 9 in this row yet. This 9 and this 7 go in from this one. Oh dear, this is looking awfully Deadly-esque. No, this 4 is now useful. 4, 3, 3, 1. Okay, so let's have a look at this column. Oh, in fact, 5 now has only one position to go in this box, which fixes all of these, fixes a 1. That should be 6 in the corner. Yes! Oh my goodness me, that was so difficult. That was so difficult. It's a brilliant puzzle though, isn't it? I mean, it just is. Let's have a think about the immense amount of logic that Glipperl has built into this. So, well, my start was based on set theory, and that was fairly heavily telegraphed, to be honest, because I think once you stare at these quadruples for any amount of time, you realise you can't do anything with them because they're all across boxes. And then what set is it? Well, it's going to be the one that captures as many of the quadruples as you can, and I've done enough puzzles now that this one sort of screams out at you. But even once you get that this pattern is interesting, and it is interesting, figuring out that there are 20 digits precisely that must fill the purple and the green, and that we know those 20 digits, is really hard. And then I found it really peculiarly hard to notice that these squares were sort of these were like the green digits, and these were like the purple digits, and that gave us this digit. I'm trying to remember what that led to. A lot of hand-wringing, I think. I think I then looked at 5, didn't I? I can't remember why. Oh, I think it was because... Yes, I know why I looked at 5. It's because I knew there was only one 5 in green. And therefore I knew those couldn't have 5 in, and that placed 5s in here. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I have to pause. Sorry, I didn't think you'd want that exploding your microphones. Yeah, and that gave me a few 5s in the grid and a method to try and get some of the other digits. And then there was about a 15-minute hiatus where I didn't spot that I had 8s up here. But apart from that, I'm pretty proud, to be honest, to get through that puzzle. I don't think that's easy. I mean, it's 5 out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, and those puzzles they'll take me an hour if I can get through them. So I apologise for wasting some of your time. I hope you still enjoyed watching me battle through it. It's a heck of a puzzle, isn't it? It really is. My goodness me, Glipperl, you are terrifying. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.